Welcome, everybody, to a Tuesday episode of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you, and it's all brought to you thanks to our friends at Toyota of Warren. Tuesday, so you know what that means. Plenty more basketball on the way here tonight on the network. Plenty happening last night. We got you covered from pillar to post, even with all the cancellations. Still had a good showing on the network. Across the board, I was at the Thriller Dome watching South Range and Hubbard get at it. The Raiders, Lady Raiders, able to pull away a victory. And while we are talking about it, why don't we add this to the stage? Let's go to the scoreboard. Can I go full screen on this? Can I do this? Anthony does it so well. I want to make sure that I can do it right. All right, there we go. I guess that's as full screen as you get from that standpoint. All right, so last night, you're seeing the scores right now on the YSN scoreboard, brought to you by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Last night, Jackson Milton with a 53-48 victory over McDonald. The Jays that was right. The Jays getting it done last night. Brookfield on the short end of the stick against Southeast with a 58-47 final. A nice home win for the Pirates. Camel Memorial keeps it rolling with a 59-51 victory over Ridge. Again, they are turning into one of the absolute dogs on YSN. We did not get it was postponed. That's why we didn't get a score from LeBray in Liberty. We had Newton Falls falling short to Garrettsville Garfield. They're on a nice little run here. I think that's their 8th win, maybe 9th win of the season so far for the G-Men. So they keep getting it done. Then you look at what Waterloo has been able to do. They push Springfield to the limit, but it's the Tigers that end up with a 6-point victory in conference play over Waterloo. Then you've got a 74-67 win for Hickory over East. Congratulations to them. Let's see if I can get this down. Let me move it over a little bit. Did I get it? There it is, right there. All right. From a standpoint of Crestview getting a big win over Champion, 77-62 at home. Then you've got Western Reserve that had a big win over their rival Sebring, 63-22 on the road. So the Devils getting back at it. Grand Valley with a big win in girls hoops last night over Bristol, 40-25. Then you've got Heartland Christian falling short to Edison, 54-36 on the road. Orange getting a well-deserved victory. I think this is their second of the year, if I'm not mistaken, over Cleveland East Tech. Final of 63-13. And you've got Southern getting a win over their EOAC rival Lisbon just down the road, 40-21. The Indians, Lady Indians, are able to push past for a big victory. East comes out on top, 39-29 against Lowellville. That's a final on the road. East gets a win in the Ville, and that helps them out, obviously. Beaver Falls, where they are known for hoops, man. The ladies stirring it up to a 65-31 win over Mohawk. Pymatuning Valley, that game was not reported. Also, it was postponed, was the Wellsville East Palestine game. The game that I did last night, South Range 44 and Hubbard 26. Congratulations to the Raiders. Two big performances for South Range. Heidi Bartels and Kira Winter were standouts in that game. And Kara Green on the other side for Hubbard was dialed in as well. All of them were contributors, and certainly we want to give them an appreciation. So they were all your players of the game last night. Who else we got? Struthers and Gerard. Gerard comes out on top 43-39 in the NE8. Canfield beats up on Norton a little bit in a low-scoring game, 31-20. And when you put those two teams that known for defense, that's the output that you're going to get. You got Conneaut over Harvey. Final score 49-27. You also have Warren JFK. I think that's, it's 62-42. A final over Jefferson. A 56-34 victory for Kirtland over Lakeside. Maplewood, the newest of the YSN schools, getting it done against Chalker to the tune of 52-18. No score, and because it was postponed to 1:13 for Cheney and Harding. You've got postponement for Beaver Local and Harrison Central. Central Valley gets a win. Oh, excuse me. Central Valley falls short to the YSN school Beaver by the final score of 56-39. Columbiana all over United, 58-5 rather. And then we had another postponement with Latonia and Valley Christian last night. Those are your scores at your scoreboard, and it's all brought to you thanks to our friends over at Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Lots, and I mean lots of games on the schedule last night, even more tonight with Mother Nature kind of calming down. Old Man Winter zipping his trap a little bit. So we'll see what we have tonight. A lot of games, from a standpoint of on the scoreboard. I know we've got those covered. Conference play coming into real big focus here as of last night. I mean, you look at this, and then you're going to have conference play all over the place. I'm buying time, as they say in the business right now. There we go. All right, so we've got Jackson, Milton, and McDonald tonight for girls hoops. Camel Memorial and Ridge, Brookfield and Southeast. Basically, it's flip-flop mostly of what you saw last night. Liberty and LeBray going at it. You'll have Champion and Crestview going at it. Newton Falls and Garrettsville Garfield. Western Reserve Sebring. For boys basketball, that's where it gets a little bit interesting. Some new teams facing off. Carrollton and West Branch. West Branch looking to get off the schneid a little bit. They've had a slow start to their season, looking to pick things up. Hawken and Orange, always a good one. That one starts at 6:45. You also have Lake Center Christian, Heartland Christian, Madison versus Jefferson, Salem versus Marlington, West Geauga versus Perry, Akron Garfield versus Louisville, Canfield versus Austintown Fitch. That one should be a good one. Edgewood and Conneaut, Columbiana and Wellsville, Cheney and Niles, Chalker and Maplewood, Geneva and Lakeside, Girard and Struthers. Also, you have Grand Valley, who is, I believe, still undefeated, taking on Bristol, Hoover and Boardman, followed by Matthews and Lordstown, Latonia and East Palestine. I'll have that one for you. Lakeview and Poland, Howland and Harding. You've got Pymatuning Valley visiting St. John, Rootstown and Wyndham, South Range and Hubbard, Southern and United, Valley Christian and Lisbon, JFK and Lowellville going at it. Another potentially good game. East and Ursuline, that should be a dogfight as well. Ambridge and Beaver will be taking things up in Western Pennsylvania. Indian Creek and East Liverpool will be going at it. See if Nate Birch can break another record tonight. Beaver Local and Harrison Central and Beaver Falls and Mohawk. That is what we have for you here this evening on the scoreboard as far as that goes. We've got we're not updated quite yet on the live page, but we have a ton of games that we'll have for you as well. Now, you know what? Pays to be the boss. I got a cheat sheet here. Hang on one second, and I'll get it for you. What games do we have tonight? Well, that is the wrong week. Here we go. We have Canfield and Austintown Fitch. Ty Bartell will have that game for you. Dakota Kotzel, DK, as we call him, will have Cheney and Niles. Columbiana at Wellsville. Gary Altizer will have that as well. He should be doing both the boys and the girls because it's a boy-girl doubleheader. Steve Hodge will have East and Ursuline. Edgewood and Conneaut will have that as well. Girard and Struthers and Hawken and Orange. Noah Ricks has that for us. We also have, Bob Zanny getting back in the booth, by the way. Girard at Struthers. Welcome back, Bob Zanny. We appreciate you. Gary Burton and Scott Rogers. Nope, that just got canceled. So we'll see what's going on there. We also have Lakeview and Poland. Have that covered for you. Latonia, East Palestine, Madison, and Jefferson. Pymatuning Valley at Ashtabula, St. John. We've got that for you. Zach Svensson and Johnny Reyes have South Range at Hubbard. We also have Southern Local at, United. Dom Pearson has Valley Christian at Lisbon, Warren JFK at Louisville via Eric Hughes. We also have West Geauga at Perry. We also have Noah Doty covering Ambridge at Beaver. And we have Akron Garfield at Louisville by the one and the only Rob Johnson. We also have Anthony Hartwig and Angelina Capabianca covering the Jackson Milton at McDonald game. So we've got a ton of stuff for you tonight on the network, and you can only find it one place. That's right here, ysnlive.com/live. You got free access to all of them under one roof, one housing, one shack, whatever you want to say, one barn. We are the place for all of that and a lot more. Stories, stats, as well as interviews that we'll be having. Actually, one coming up right here with Bob Camardo. It is that time of the month, which means there's only one man that can talk about the Curbstone coaches. It's time to catch the curb with Bob Camardo right here on your Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody. It is the first of the month in a new year, nonetheless, which means one of our favorite people stopping by the studio today, Bob Camardo, with Catching the Curb, brought to you by the Curbstone coaches. And Mr. Camardo, Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year to you. And if I'm one of your favorite people, you need to broaden your horizons a little bit, I think. But
I'm going to leave it there.
You should.
We're going to leave that be. No, but it's always exciting when you come in. You give us so much detail of what the new and exclusive things are to the Curbstone coaches each and every Monday. And obviously, as we always talk about the banquet at the end of the year to kind of tie things up. Today we're going to talk about who's to come all the way up to about April-ish.
Yeah, we're pretty well booked all the way through the second Monday in April, save for a couple at toward the end of March I have to fill yet. But we've got, you look outside and you see this lousy weather, but the Curbstone coaches are saying the hell with the weather. And we are going to be getting into our baseball mode here starting next Monday. Next Monday, the 13th, we've got Cleveland Indians, Guardians, broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus, who's one of my favorite people. He's just a great guy, and he does a great job, brings a lot of trinkets with him, T-shirts and tickets and bobbleheads and stuff like that. So he comes and talks to us next Monday, and he always draws a good crowd. On the 20th of January, we've got YSU softball coach Brian Campbell. He always brings a couple kids with him and is very insightful about the upcoming softball season. And then on the 27th of January, the last Monday in January, we've got the new YSU baseball coach, Trevor Sharpie, coming. I met him for the first time a couple weeks ago, and he seems like a good guy. He's got a lot of enthusiasm, which usually you do when you start a job. I told him, I said, we always plan on coming to games and stuff, and then in April it's snowing and they're playing, and you got to wear parkas, and it's difficult. But he just announced their first pitch breakfast is going to be in. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but they've got Cincinnati Reds legendary George Foster is coming to be the speaker for the breakfast. So he's excited about that. And, we have to get these guys in January because they start their season in February.
Yep.
They go down south, both softball and baseball. So we're looking forward to those guys. And then the DJ Oakley Memorial Luncheon is on February 3rd. When Pittsburgh Pirate broadcaster Greg Brown comes in, and he's always an interesting speaker. He brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm with him, and he's a good dude, so we enjoy listening to him.
So, but baseball, it's hard to think about right now with the snow falling, the roads are tough, but you guys keeping that eternal optimism with baseball right around the corner. Is this it's hard to pick, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but is this some of your favorite of the year, speaker-wise?
No doubt. Oh, no doubt. Especially, I've gotten to know Jim Rosenhaus from the Guardians over the last, 5-6 years that he spoke to us, and he's one of those guys. He's a noted figure that he's doing the games, and he's well thought of, but he treats you like he's known you all his life. He's very, very easy to talk to. Enjoy being with him, and yeah, you that's what you want to think about when you have weather like this is when eventually we're going to get to baseball and softball because, like I said, the YSU coaches they start their season in February down south, and Rosenhaus and Greg Brown have to go to spring training in February, so we have to get those guys in January. So it does bring some optimism that eventually we'll have some decent weather.
You guys, well, you specifically, I believe, have a really good Rosie story. Do you care to share that one? You told me a while ago. You guys went to a ball game, right?
We
He
went.
invited you?
Well, actually, it was the TV broadcaster Matt Underwood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Matt Underwood. I had hooked up with him at a YSU baseball breakfast a few years ago, and we kind of texted back and forth. And then this past year, he texted me and said, "Hey, why don't you come up to the booth and meet everybody and bring some pizzas with you?" So we brought some Bellaria pizzas and pepperoni rolls and stuff, and went up there for a Red Sox game in April. It was cold as hell, but we met. I met Joe Castiglione, now retired Red Sox broadcaster, and we treated them guys to some good food. And he mentioned our name on the TV, and I know people were singing, "Wait a minute, did he just mention Bob Camardo's name? Why is that?" So, but we enjoyed it. But Rosie always sets us up with tickets for a couple games during the season too. So they're great guys. And by the way, they'll both be at Our Lady of Mount Carmel tonight for our Guardians banquet.
Make sure you get out there. Okay, so we were into February now. Who we got after the greatest announcer of all time, Greg Brown?
Greg Brown. Greg Brown's a good dude. February 10th, we're going to have YSU basketball play-by-play guy Rob Schmidt, who is also going to be inducted in our Hall of Fame in May. YSU basketball is a pretty good story right now. I mean, they lost their last game Saturday, but they had won 8 in a row, and they're playing very well. So there's some interest. So Rob's coming February 10th. February 17th is a noted area official who also played basketball at YSU, and that would be Anne Marie Martin. Anne's one of the most highly regarded officials in the area, so we're looking forward to having her come. And then on February 24th, we've got YSU Final Four bowling coach Doug Kuberski, who is also getting in the Hall of Fame this coming May. So we'll have him on February 24th.
That's incredible stuff. I mean, you think about what YSU's been able to do in the lanes. I mean, one of the highest nationally regarded programs, obviously in the country. For you, and I know you know these, especially the Youngstown State coaches very well. What has been the tail of the tape for these coaches, especially so highly regarded, to get into the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame?
Well, and I got to give Ron Stroller credit. I mean, he seems to be hiring some very quality coaches these days. And Kuberski, I mean, is a bowling legend, not only here, but in Nebraska, where he's from. And they have a legitimate chance of winning a national championship with the bowlers that he gets. So he's, like I said, he's very well thought. Rob Schmidt's a guy that I've known for, 30 years. And he does a great job with the YSU broadcast. Mm-hmm. So he's getting in the Hall of Fame. We've got a great, and we'll talk a little bit maybe down the road here about who's getting in and that sort of thing. But we've got a great class of Hall of Fame this year.
Absolutely do. And who's left on your list?
Okay, so Monday, March 3rd, we have, after a couple of years of trying to get a hold of someone there, we finally got someone from the Youngstown Phantoms hockey team. And we're actually going to have the head coach, Ryan Ward, is going to be coming on March 3rd. And then March 10th, Kevin Brogan, who's the general manager of Hollywood Gaming.
Love Kevin Brogan.
And Kevin's a good dude, but I have to ask him why those slot machines are so tight. Jeez, oh man. I mean, I'm going to have to ask you to start paying me for this so that I can help with my gambling habit. No, but Kevin's a good guy, and he comes to us every year or two and talks to us, and he's a lot of fun. Then we've got 2 weeks off. 17th and 24th we're off, but I have to schedule somebody those 2 weeks. And then on the 31st, we're going to do any high school state champion from winter sports, basketball and those sorts of things, if there are any. And then on Monday, April 7th, which is the date of the national championship, NCAA national championship basketball game, we have Hall of Fame referee Joe DeRosa, who's done NBA and Final Four, and he's one of our favorite speakers that comes every year and talks to us. So Joe's coming on April 7th. And on April 14th, we're going to have YSU head football coach Doug Phillips, because the YSU spring football game is the Saturday before that, April 12th. So Doug's going to come and talk to us about how the football team's going to shape up for next year and all that. So it's a pretty star-studded group coming up to talk to us.
Absolutely love when Joe DeRosa comes to town, because, I mean, he'll tell you stories and incredible tails and also kind of clears things up for March Madness.
He does, and the one thing about Joe, and all of our speakers, as you were one not that long ago, we always give the audience an opportunity to ask questions. After they're done talking, and we're there with Joe for like an hour. He answers questions, both NBA and college basketball, about bad calls, officiating, what coaches are jerks, which aren't, those sorts of things. And he's great. He really is.
You mentioned a little bit earlier that you're eagerly anticipating some champions of the winter in that March meeting. You just saw the JFK boys golf team yesterday, as a matter of fact. Talk to me how that went.
That went great. They're back-to-back state champions now, and he's got 4 of his top 5 golfers returning. So I told him, I said, we'll reserve a date for you next year, too, for your three-peat. But, yeah, even with the weather being a little dicey yesterday, they made the trip from Warren and the 5 kids and the 2 coaches and he was Jim LaPaul is his name. He's an attorney, so he knows how to talk.
Yep.
And it was fun to have them. They're a good group of people.
All right. Any final thoughts for this edition of Catching the Curve?
No, like I said, we'll next month, like I told you off before we started, next month when I'm here, we'll have some ticket information and that about the Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame is on Monday, May the 4th. Mm-hmm. And I'll run real quick the inductees. Brian Gorby, legendary YSU track coach. John Butera from Sports Media. Roland Cummings, a boxing area legend. Doug Kaburski, who I mentioned already, YSU bowling coach. Jimmy Vivo, who for football, he was a football player and coach, and I actually played softball with Jim, so if he's not careful, I'll tell a couple stories about him. YSU former business manager Jim Morrison will be inducted. Mike Pavlansky, former Canfield football coach, legend. Who's just a great guy and a legend, like you said. Anthony Kangemi for football. Tim Gleason for contribution to sports. Tim's OAC president, I believe, for a number of years and is very well thought of. Bob Jenkins for track and field. Rob Schmidt, like I mentioned, for sports media. And then finally, some guy named Steve Leslie, who you happen to know pretty well, and Steve for contribution to sports, and I love Steve. He's a great guy.
Awesome. That's Murderer's Row right there.
We're hoping for a big crowd, so those of you who happen to see this or whatever, our guest speaker is former Browns and Oklahoma running back Greg Pruitt, so we're hoping for a big crowd on Monday, May 4th at Mr. Anthony's.
Bob Camardo, as always, we thank you for popping in and enlightening us with all these details. And if people want to catch up with the Curbstone Coaches Association, how do they do that?
We have a website, thecurbstonecoaches.org, and we also have a Facebook page. So there's information on there, phone numbers or whatever. You can leave us messages or whatever, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us if need be.
Bob, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
And our special thank you to Bob Camardo, as always, for stopping by, Catching the Curb, brought to you by the Curbstone Coaches. And certainly, I know we say it a lot, but if you are able to, you need to support what the Curbstone Coaches do. It's not just for coaches. And you go hang out on a Monday, you get lunch for an affordable price, you get to listen to some of the best speakers, especially in the region. I mean, they've got some big ones coming up. So if you want to get truly your money's worth, I think it's like $25 for a membership. So make sure that you sign up for the Curbstone Coaches. I'm a member, love being a member. There's a lot of knowledge in that room each and every Monday. And then the banquet, the creme brulee. Is that how you say it? The Big Daddy, the Super Bowl of the of the meetings is the Hall of Fame banquet. They do such a great job with that. Congratulations to all the inductees this year, but specifically to the big fella himself, the general manager of YSN, Mr. Steve Leslie. We're so proud of you and excited to be part of your day that day. All right. Let's talk real quickly. We've got just a few minutes left in an abbreviated version of the Ysn Power Hour. Yesterday, we talked about what is to come here on YSN in the future. We talked about YSN Prospect, got a lot of really, really exciting messages from people ready to go. And that's exciting for us here at YSN. This is kind of my baby. This is one of the things that I've wanted to do for a long time, but we had to wait till the time was right. Now, obviously, the technology was accurate, correct, and it was viable. And thanks to our friends at iSynergy for making that happen, as always. But the other thing we talked about was shows like this. Power Hour and Running Point are going to be quickly non-existent. And what we're doing, and I talked over with Anthony today, so the excitement is building on his side. We're actually going to combine our shows and have a kind of a talk show feel to it, but we're going to have a back and forth because we always feel it needs to be back and forth. Everybody knows I'm a huge fan of the Pat McAfee show. I think he's been doing incredible things in our industry, things that I just look at and admire because I feel that's what we're doing here. We are the disruptor of the regular media normalcy that you've received for decades and centuries. And we're looking to disrupt it again. So what we're going to do, just so you know, moving forward, that January 20th, there's a lot going on that day, but amongst things that are happening, we will be launching YSN Live. And that is the new talk show / podcast that Anthony and I will be taking care of each and every day, Monday through Friday. No guarantees about if they're always going to be there, but when it's relevant, and most days we will be. And we're going to be kind of the same deal. Anthony, everybody loves and knows because of his just very statistic, analytical from that side. And I'm more of the opinionated, polarizing figure. So we figure that can be kind of a odd couple scenario, and we can draw a lot more content as well as, form some more opinions and get more people done with us kind of tag teaming the show. So that will be on January 20th moving forward. YSN Live. The first half of the show will be brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet. The second half of the show will be brought to you by our friends at Toyota of Warren, just to make things even and to make sure that we're appeasing our great sponsors and supporters. So very similar to what Pat McAfee does, we're going to be doing. We're going to be having guests each and every day. And usually they're going to be returning guests. So somebody on Monday, somebody on Tuesday, somebody on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But we're also going to bring in more guests too. We're looking to, there's no timetable set for it. Like people are looking for, is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be 2 hours? What's it going to be? It's going to be what it is because we're not defined by minutes anymore here on the internet. We're just going to make sure that it's valuable content and stuff that doesn't make you want to pull your eyeballs out of your sockets because you're so bored. If it's 20 minutes, it's 20 minutes. If it's an hour, it's an hour. If it's 24-hour marathon, then that's what we'll do too. But we're looking to bring more of that to the network and certainly ramp up content even more than it has been and get more student athletes to be heroic or to have heroic sense of belonging in their own communities as we try to do with our mission each and every day here. So that being said, let's get to the Joe Dickey Electric. What's Your Spark? Presented by Joe Dickey Electric. They are everything electrical, and you can visit them on the web at DickeyElectric.com. The Joe Dickey Electric. What's Your Spark? Presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Here's a big one. We're in Ohio. Guess what? It's going to snow. It's going to snow. And we've got people that are appreciative of a snow day, a good snow day. Oh, there's nothing better than a good snow day. But there are also people that, and I get both sides now. Now that I'm officially a parent, I get it. Having the kids around really throws a wrench in all your plans throughout the day. Some of you have to get childcare. Some of you have to get all that stuff. But here's the one thing of all the snow days and not snow days that I don't understand. And I have not understood since I was a young puppy in East Palestine. If a school is canceled, how, and I'm not complaining, how does the events surrounding that school that is canceled earlier in the day, how are they not canceled? Maybe somebody can help me and answer this for me because I don't understand it one bit. I don't understand it one bit. You got people that are complaining because, Another great, opportunity for our kids not to learn today. Other people very happy because their kids are safe at home. I get it. I'm on both sides of the fence on this one. The question I have is if it's not good enough and nice enough outside or safe enough to drive to school for the kids to go to school, does the weather change that much by 5:30, 6 o'clock that you can have an event? That's a question that I've been wondering forever. Tale as old as time, if you will. I don't understand it at all. I don't get it. I can appreciate it, but I think there should be a across-the-board ruling that if you cancel school, all events for that day are canceled as well. Just makes things a little bit more tidy. Just makes things a little bit more tidy for people that have to go out and do these games. It is a challenge, certainly, to try and convince announcers and trying to convince people to go to said game if the school day was canceled. It is a challenge. It is a challenge. Not one that we always lose, but it's a challenge nonetheless. I just think that there should be, if school is canceled, then so are the activities that night. Does it suck? Sure. But it makes sense. Like a lot of people, oh, got it. And there's going to be people that say, well, the roads can be plowed between 5:30 in the morning and 5:30 at night. They can, but I don't know that I've ever seen an activity off of a snow day that kids are in their right state of mind. Right? They're kind of amped up. They're out of their rhythm. They're out of their regular things that they do each and every day. They're not really synced up to what they're usually doing. I just think it makes sense. And I'm not complaining. I was happy to go to the game last night. I love my job. Absolutely love it. But I saw all over the internet how people were frustrated. Their kids were home. Frustrated that the kids had games that night. Some people, there's no pleasing. I just want to know the mechanics behind it and the ideas behind. You just got to make it simple, right? You got to make it simple for people. So if the school's canceled at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is, the events are canceled as well. I mean, we do such a hustle and bustle in the spring with rain, canceling games and having to reschedule and do that. I don't think basketball is that much more challenging. In fact, it's probably easier because in the spring, you don't know if your rain date is going to be replaced with another rain date. You at least have a feeling that, hey, we're going to play this game or we're going to cancel this game if it's non-conference and we're going to pick up another game, with another school, whatever it may be. I mean, you're allowed to have 22. I don't think you necessarily have to, but you're allowed to. It's very similar to basketball or football, I would imagine. Just saying. As a parent, make it a little bit easier on parents. And also, as a entrepreneur who has a sports business, people calling us and texting us and emailing us and yelling at us because a school either canceled or didn't, that we have no power over that. I promise you. There's a lot of things that we can put power over top. That's not one of them. I don't want to be a superintendent when it comes to canceling school because you are never right. Never once are you right. You are at best, you are an umpire. And you're fielding calls and frustrations from parents who half of them want to have their kids at home and half of them want their kids at school. Do not want that job. No, sir. No thanks. But if I may, make it easier for everybody else and say, hey, game's canceled. Events are canceled. If we cancel school, we're canceling events. Maybe someone, if you're a superintendent out there and you can tell me why in kind of the ZYX banana, right? The play call, the strategy behind it, love to hear it. Because I'm sure we get probably not as many calls and emails as you do on a cancellation of a school day, but we're up there. We're up there. And speaking of we're up there, we're out of here. That's going to do it for today. We'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday, hoping to have some East Liverpool Potters on the show. Some record breakers, some great basketball being played down in Potter country. We'll try to get Coach Reynolds and a few of the Potters on the show, as well as perhaps Coach Franciselli over at McDonald. We'll see how it goes. We will see you in about 23 hours right here on YSN. Have a great night. Stay safe. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.